Hi everyone, it's Blondie, the BRS historian, blah blah blah. Do I have an intro? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've done an unboxing, and boy howdy, do I have a doozy for you today. This is, without a doubt, the biggest Black Rock Shooter box I think I've seen. Actually, we can double check that. The biggest was previously the Home Edition box. And yes, as you can see, even though it's almost the same size, this new figure has the biggest box of any Black Rock Shooter figure. You do not know what I looked like carrying this out of the post office. Now with the plastic off, we can kind of, even though my ring light, I hate this thing, makes a huge mess of it, we can now look at the box of the Black Rock Shooter Dawnfall and its super long name, Empress Black Rock Shooter Teaser Visual Version, art by Huke, scale figure. This thing is massive, and its name is just as long. Also, hi, you can kind of see me in the reflection. Hello! So, looking at the box, we have the front, which is where we can see Empress inside with the black trike, and all of these wonderful sort of glitchy effects around the edge. But as we turn around, we get even more fun designs, like the word Empress on the side, with the barcodes on the side. We have an image of the figure itself on the back, and on the other side, we have an image of the teaser visual itself. On the top, we have the Spiritale logo, which is very hard to see, but it's right there. And the bottom has just a cool blue design of rocks. Just a blue design of rocks, nothing too interesting. Now, the only thing bigger than the box is the price tag of this figure. This figure was like, what was it, 40,000 yen? Something like that. I paid about $350, $380 US with shipping for this figure. Yeah, she's not cheap. Spiritale doesn't have the best track record of releases, but they have really cleaned up since their first release. I already have this knife in my hand, so we're gonna open her up. We're gonna see if there's any issues that plague this figure, because I've heard of some that some people have concerning her stability, but other people say she's perfectly fine. So, without further ado, let's open her up and let's build her. You see, I'm the kind of freaking weirdo who likes to open figure boxes from the bottom so that you can display the box standing upright and it doesn't have, like, the top popping open. So I like to open them this way because I'm kind of funky and weird. I have found the instructions, and unlike the other Black Rock Shooter figures that are absolutely massive that have released recently, such as Inexhaustible and Black Rock Shooter Home Edition, this is all we get for the instructions, a single page. There's no booklet to follow, there's no video to follow, it's this single page. Hopefully setup is only this easy. With her now out of the main box, we can take a better look at Empress and the sheer size and scale of this figure because holy moly, it is massive. We can also take a look at the back of how it is boxed up, and we can see that it really juts out at the back too. So this figure is going to require a lot of space. I've made room for it. Hopefully it's enough, because if it isn't, man, I don't know what I'll do. This thing is so big. With the tape now cut, we can free Empress from her plastic prison with some probably very loud plastic popping sounds. Ah! Okay, there we go. And now with the top lid removed, we can take a proper look at Empress herself. The blue flame is absolutely beautifully sculpted, and it is a soft plastic, so I don't see this breaking off anytime soon. It looks like it's secured on quite well, and all of her hair is actually, while very well sculpted, it's a soft plastic without being so rubbery like Inexhaustibles is. This is a great balance, and I think it pulls off that translucency really well. Other things to note, the paint job, while mostly black, has a blue sheen, and I know this is the same on the black trike just from the product photos I've seen, but all of the paintwork, especially that blue highlighting along the black areas, is absolutely beautiful. Her skin is the same material or coated texture, I don't know exactly what it's called, as the Black Rock Shooter Home Edition, so it feels very soft to the touch. It's kind of strange to feel a figure and have it feel almost like skin if skin was solid. There's also a lot of beautiful shading on the skin, but it's all very subtle. Even on her stomach, I don't know if it's picking up well on the camera. It has some decent sculpting, but it's hard to pick up, and that shading makes it just a little more visible. This is a really beautiful sculpt. Here's just a look at some more angles of Empress. You see the bottom of her shoes, her gun holster with the little handgun, and in her hand is a handle for the black trike. And while holding her like this, she feels pretty sturdy, but it's the connection, which I think this is metal, I can't really tell. It feels like it. The connection is what's really going to be tested, but it feels like she may be sturdy. It's once we attach her coil gun that I'm a bit worried. So let's look at the instructions, get everything else out, and let's start assembling this absolutely massive figure. Here is a quick look at the coil gun included for this figure, and I won't lie, this feels much more fragile than the Figma version does, even though I feel like this is slightly larger, but it's still a very similar size. All of these pieces are floating on there and they don't have strong attachments, so they kind of wiggle a lot, and it feels a bit more fragile than I would like it to, especially on such what looks to be a precarious figure and at the very top. It is lightweight, but it is still heavier than Empress herself, so I'm hoping there's no issues in the long term. We'll find out. And last but certainly not least, because you know, this is the main part of the figure, is the black trike. This thing is massive. It is absolutely huge. I didn't see it in the product photos, but the flames actually transitioned from purple to blue. I thought they were all just blue. There's a bunch of amazing circuitry detail on the side done in a metallic blue paint. There are some very fragile looking details on here, but everything is sculpted beautifully, and I just remembered I bought something for this very occasion. Oh, now this is much better. I don't have to move anything. Upgrades, people, upgrade. So, taking a look at the black trike, we can see some amazing paintwork here. The entire trike is shiny, but it is matte, and across the entire thing it is shaded with blue, from this very, very bright blue to very soft grayish blues along the whole figure and the whole structure, so that it doesn't look flat black. This is beautiful. The black trike is without a doubt one of the standout features of Dawnfall, you know, aside from all like the really bad stuff. So seeing it in such a beautiful state, in an absolutely massive state, this is definitely larger. I don't think by too much, but it's definitely larger than the Plamax black trike for the Figma, but it is, it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. I don't know what else to say. It's just so pretty and so cool looking. Let's get Empress on there! Looking at the instructions, it says that step 1 is to attach Empress to the trike by attaching the bike handle into this little hole. I have seen some people unable to get it all the way in so that it is completely locked in place, but for the majority I haven't seen anyone have issues with this, so let's see if I do. The second step though is to attach the coil gun onto Empress herself, and it even shows a graphic to make sure you're doing it correctly. The shape of Empress's handle is actually not perfectly circle, so it shouldn't wiggle around too much because it has a flat edge on it, so hopefully we don't have any issues. So I've gotten the handlebar in as far as I can, and we can compare that this handlebar, which is kind of hard to see, is in, and it comes just already like that. It's in a little bit more than this handlebar is, but I really don't think I can get it much further. Also note that Empress has a little bit of wiggle right here from the connection of her hand to the handlebar, so just be cautious of that. Don't wiggle her too much, because I feel like if you're a bit aggressive, you could easily twist this and break that. And you really don't want to do that to your $400 figure, now do you? The final step is to attach the coil gun onto Empress. Now there are 2 peg holes, and they attach very specifically. There's only one right way of, oopsie, she's very wiggly. There's only one right way of putting it on, and that's with the bulk of the coil gun to the back. Just so you're aware of that. I'm going to use 2 hands because I'm frightened. And here it is. It's a bit wobbly, so I wouldn't touch this whole setup, but I'm genuinely surprised that the support pole is completely gone. I think I'd feel a little safer with it still being there, but it looks like there isn't any issue with it as of right now. I will make an update. I have to go to work soon, so I will make an update after I get home from work, and then we'll see how she's held up. But for now, let's take a look at this whole figure and talk about her. I've zoomed out so we can see the entire figure, so she might look a little bit warped here, but here is the Black Rock Shooter Empress teaser visual version, art by Huke, scale figure, blah blah blah, whatever it's called. This is the figure completely assembled, and it is definitely impressive. It definitely follows the trend of scale figures that have an absolutely massive base and a very small figure, or at least a very impressive base and a smaller-ish figure, such as Inexhaustible and the now coming Alishka scale figure by Enso Toys. I think she looks incredibly good. I am very curious about her stability and how that will last over time. Mine seems like it's leaning forward a little bit, but I've seen others lean back. Some people have had no problems at all, and for a $400 figure, I better not have any issues. At the risk of handling sounds with my phone, we can take some looks at Empress all assembled, and we can see that this figure is very beautiful, at least in my opinion. It is absolutely a massive figure, that is just objective, and it has some beautiful sculpt work all throughout it. This figure took a very long time to come out, and I'm honestly really happy with all the work they did to make her able to stand without her support pole, as well as the work they did on the base. This base looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm glad they didn't go with the first draft. This one looks so beautiful and so much better. I've made room for it. Hopefully it's enough, because if it isn't... So this was the spot I had designated for Empress, but she's too tall. So I'm gonna have to adjust the shelf. She didn't exactly fit, as I said. So I had to move an entire shelf down and squish my Black Rock Shooter plush shelf a little bit. So they're all kind of crammed in there, but hey, at least Empress has a home. This is an IKEA Billy bookcase, and she barely fits in the depth. So, I don't know, maybe a D-Tolf is better with some adjusted shelves, but it barely fits in my Billy bookcase. This is how she lives for now. I need to find a new room for my Black Rock Shooter puzzle now, though, so that's interesting. We will check on her again in a few hours once I am home from work, but until then, I think she looks pretty frickin' cool. I'm officially home from work, and it appears that after all this time, Empress is still stable. I don't see any excess leaning. She looks exactly as I left her. So I would say, you know, pretty stable figure, which shocks me, but it's a pleasant surprise. If you want to see me talk more about Black Rock Shooter figures, you can follow me on TikTok, where I post semi-regularly about my Black Rock Shooter collection. Anyway, I will see you guys again. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, insert a funny outro here. Bye!